Hello, everybody. It's June 7th, 2022. It's a SIGNOTS weekly meeting. Welcome, everybody. Today, the biggest item on agenda is to go through the caps for 125 and let Don and Derek fill up the caps we want to track for 125 in release tracking thingy spreadsheet. So Raven, thanks for sharing the screen, and let's get going and go see what caps we want to deliver in 125. Yeah, Raven, you stopped sharing. Oh, okay.
Sorry, I was somehow I was not able to unmute myself. I think I'm good now. Let me just reshare.
Perfect.
You're on mute, Ruben.
I don't know why when I'm sharing my screen, I cannot unmute myself. If I share the tab, I just automatically I'm muted.
Yeah, give me a second. I will share.
Yeah, thanks.
Give me some time. Okay, I think the screen.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, so anyway, sorry about that. I just put a finalist cap table on top of this doc, and this is basically a sum of the planned caps listed below, minus the ones that do not have clear owners or the ones where people say they don't have capacity to work on. So I just compiled this finalized plan caps. I guess for now we can just go through the list and see what is well, is there any change we should make on this list? And if not, we'll just put this list into our that finalized release spreadsheet. So yeah, I guess let's go through them. The first one, in place updates of pod resources. Vinay, I think this is being actively worked on, right? We should keep it here definitely. Yes, Vinay here.
Yeah, I think this should be there. It's being actively reviewed. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep, that's an update for it in the meeting today, but Vinay is out.
Okay, cool. Thanks. And then ensure secret pulled images. I think Mike is the owner here.
I think Mike may not be around, but I don't think we have done any follow-up work, so it's too late. So I think we can move it to the next one.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, next one I want to try. If it will be approved by SIG testing, it will be in 125.
Okay, so this is like conditionally in 125, right?
Yeah, and it should be tracked by SIG testing.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
All right, support user namespace.
That one is good. That one is good. The cap is merged, PR is out actively.
Okay, cool. And secret v2.
That's also good. It's a best effort. We'll see if we can get to GA. So.
Right, cool. Forensic container checkpointing.
That's also good. Yeah. Good. C advisor CRI is also good. Yeah, we discussed that one.
Dynamic resource allocation. I think we don't have a we don't have a status here, but we have some owners here listed.
I am not sure whether we reached agreement on this one. Maybe we can just poke some folks and see
Okay.
if we can reach agreement before the announcement deadline.
Okay. I can go try ping the owners on Slack and see.
Yep.
Um,
There
Yeah,
were some comments to this dynamic resource allocation cap, and I think Patrick addressed all of them last week.
Oh, okay.
so who is a reviewer for that? Alexander, do you want to be a reviewer?
Well, I'm a participant of WebCap. I cannot be reviewer. But
Okay.
yeah, if I remember correctly, Kevin and Don agreed to be reviewers, or we want to be just approvers.
Okay. So we need to I need to pin Patrick as well as Kevin and Don.
Okay, we'll do that. Moving on, pod conditions around starting completion of sandbox creation. This is
I
under
think it's
review.
waiting. Yeah, it's waiting on a review from Derek. But yeah, we'll keep it here.
Yeah, the next one, device plugin API feature. So it says it needs to follow. We need to follow if it is being actively worked on. So
So Zonko reached out to me. He wants to work on it, and I think he's found reviews approvers. I'll ask him to update it.
okay, cool. So I can just remove this one then.
Yeah.
I mean, keep the cap here, remove the comment.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, class-based resources in CRI.
Yeah, it's a this Marcos talking the owner. So yeah, it's a discussion topic again. So in terms of like code, it could be really small if we just get to agree that let's go with this and get reviewers for it then. So, but I'm actively working on that, and basically the code is ready.
We discussed. Have we discussed last time that we need to agree on scenarios first, and there was some like there was a request, I believe. Maybe my memory doesn't serve me right, but I believe there was a request to list scenarios where it will be used and what other like generalization we can apply there.
Well, there was at least I remember a request to kind of show how the kind of existing block.io resource work there, and I kind of prepared to talk about that today later in this meeting.
We only have 1 week left before the enhancement freeze. Will we be able to find reviewers and approvers?
I think it may be a stretch, Marcus. I mean, we can try, but honestly, it's going to be a stretch to get this in for 125.
So follow-ups needs to be, I mean, we need to find reviewer and approver for that.
If we take it on and it'll be ready, I can do some of the review from the kubelet side, but we probably want someone who works on Containerd or Cryo to take a look too.
I think like the bigger worry, Danielle, is like whether like we all agreed whether this is the path we are going down on, and
that's
the block
what I
Cryo.
mean. Like,
Yeah.
if we do, then
Yeah.
we should probably push this for 126 though.
Yeah, that's what I feel, because like Don and Derek are not around today, and we may be running out of time to just make a decision here.
Okay, let's remove it from 125 then, and Marcus, we can always keep working on that. It just we wouldn't work on it this release. It wouldn't be shipped.
Sergey, if possible, let's keep it for 1 week, and if we will find reviewer and approver for it during this week, when we can We will make a decision later.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe
runtime-
good idea for you will be to send email to Signode at least. Maybe you'll find more support there.
Yeah, well, Marcus already sent it, but I think it will require just some ad hoc conversation with the people.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send another note on the Signode mailing list about that. So well, let's see. Try to find a reviewer for that 1 week. Well, yeah.
Okay, we'll revisit this one in 1 week then. Okay, runtime assisted mounting of PVs.
Hey, so this is still being discussed with SIG storage. I think we can remove it from SIG node for 125.
Okay, cool. I'll remove it.
Thanks.
Kubelet open telemetry tracing. 2 weeks. Open this.
Daniel, we marked as a reviewer. Do you know the status?
It's on my list for tomorrow. So it looks like it got merged though. So that should be good.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, the cap first, right. Support user namespaces. I think this one is under review already, so this should be good.
I think this got merged.
Yeah. And Francesco just mentioned this one to be postponed to 126, so I will remove this one as well. Support for Windows privileged containers. We have owner reviewers, so this one should be good, right?
Yeah, I've already added this to the tracking list for under SIG Windows too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think biggest concern there was misunderstanding, like I misaligned those GA will change something written in cap. So there is a text change. Mark, I think this needs to be reviewed in the PR, right?
Yeah, I've got a PR open in that for the cap that I'm working on. Cool.
Okay.
And this one also to be moved out. Okay, non-Graceful shutdown. I saw Xinyang created a cap for this one, so I just assumed she would be the owner.
Try to ping her, so we'll have to check if the cap is there's an update to the cap for beta.
Yeah, she added that milestone 125, so I just assumed that
Okay,
she would
yeah.
this, yeah. Add configurable Grace to probes. Mike, is Mike here? Because we still don't have a clear owner on this one.
I think the target is GA, right? So it's already in beta.
Oh, okay. Double check. Should get moved to default beta true in 125.
Oh, I see. So default
Yeah.
change.
Default change.
I mean, if there is no owner right now, we probably need to remove it from milestone.
I can remove it, or I can check with Mike just to double check.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll ping Mike. And yeah, if there's no response or if we really don't have an owner, I'll just remove it.
Credential provider is being dropped.
Yeah, about that one, I might have some capacity to take it over if that's fine. I know that Andrew is out, so I think the next step for this one is to promote it to GA, right?
Yeah, I don't quite remember what's blocking it now. It's not been in my head for a few weeks. But Aditi is out for the next few months and Matthew doesn't have time. So if you want to take it over, that should be fine.
Okay, yeah, I'll put my name here. All right, pod priority based on node group will shut down.
No change there. This is beta in 125. So
Okay, so there is no work, right, for this one?
there might be some bug fixes coming in
Okay.
there.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, but it can be removed from this list.
Keep doing that. Okay, this one should be moved out. Okay, daemon says should support Maxter to improve workload availability. Yeah, so this one is I keep it here because it says Node should Signode should support this work, and yeah, but we don't have a clear owner on Signode side.
So it's for SIGApps to decide.
Yeah, it says controller API should drive. So yeah, I don't know if we should even keep it here. If,
Yeah, let's remove it.
Okay, I'll remove it.
Yeah, it looks like Clayton's owning that and Clayton can ask if he needs help.
I think we can remove it, right? If this is not like something for no team to drive.
Yeah.
I'll just do it. Oops. Okay, quotas for ephemeral storage.
Let's stop it. Like I haven't had time yet, and it's too late probably. So
okay, removing it. Okay, ephemeral containers. Have owner, reviewer,
this
approver.
one should be good, right?
Yeah, should be good.
Is there a GA criteria?
I don't see one.
Yeah, I think from implementation perspective, it's good to go. I just worry that if you don't have a GA requirement and criteria, then how do we decide whether it's ready to GA? Who is the owner?
Verb.
Maybe we need to ping this person and see if this actually will move forward.
I think he has added a comment on the announcement, so we can leave a comment for him there, and hopefully he'll respond on the announcement issue.
Okay, I'll reach out to Verb. Checking status on this. Okay, moving on. Enable SecCom by default, have owner review approver. So this one should be good.
This one is good. Yeah.
Speed up recursive, C Linux label change. Similar. This one is mostly on storage, and we have a Signode contact. I guess we don't need to keep this here as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it can be driven by storage, so we don't need to track it.
Yep.
Maybe we should keep a note if they do want node reviewers, just to be mindful of reviewer bandwidth from node. But otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. Just in general, yeah, I don't think we need to keep like a reviewer review work in this track list. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's helpful as a reminder, given that we're also kicking off a bunch of work on testing and maintainability. Just to be cognizant of how much we're signing up for.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I think this list will also help Don and Derek to understand what to move into SIG release tracking spreadsheet. And if we don't drive it, we maybe shouldn't track it here, at least explicitly.
We can have a separate table at the bottom, right? Like other things we are tracking, but not necessarily adding to the sheet.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so all the review work should be tracked in a separate list, and I will delete this row here. Okay, moving on. Evented flag. This one should be good, and I think we're working on a cap right now.
Is it on track for 125? Because I don't think it was reviewed.
Yeah, so I need to check the cap status. One is being worked on.
Okay. Let's check next week if it's on track.
I think this one may be a stretch. Like we'll have to see whether it can actually make 125. Let's see.
Yep. New CPU manager policy. Right, we have owners and we don't have reviewers approvers yet. Okay.
Francesco, are you on?
I can review, but I don't have reviewer rights. So, but I can help. And as far as I know, Kevin is on top of it.
Okay.
I can also help with review, but similar situation with Francesco.
Cool. Okay, moving on.
Yeah, I added this cap here. Somebody proposed it. It's very small.
Yeah, I took a look. It looks mostly fine to me. I want someone else also to make a pass, and I think we can probably get it in. Seems fairly non-controversial and good quality of life improvement for logging.
Yeah, I reviewed it as well. So
okay, so you can put like Sergey and me as reviewer approver on this one. We'll take it.
Is there anything else we missed? Yeah, I suggest maybe we need to have another column marking something that we clearly know that it's 125. So Don and Derek can move it to release tracking spreadsheet, and we will have the rest of caps re-reviewed next week, just before enhancement freeze.
Yep, sounds good. I'll do that. I can well, add a new column to this table.
Okay, thank you, Raymond, for driving this. We have, yeah, I also proposed to have soft freeze as we had 2 previous releases already. I suggest July 12th as a soft freeze. It will give roughly 3 weeks after enhancement freeze, so like almost 5 weeks from now for beta graduations and GA implementation. So last time we discussed that soft freeze will be different for beta and alpha caps, beta and beta and graduations should be fully merged by soft freeze. If they're not, then we need to remove them from a release, because if they're not merged yet, then we don't have any like extra time to have them soaked in our CI environment and have it tried out. If we merge big GA or beta feature just before release, the quality may not be ideal. And for alpha features that are not enabled by default, we typically allow more time. So soft freeze is just for PR to be out, so we know that somebody is working on that. But if PR is not merged yet, it's also fine, because it's alpha that is not enabled by default, and quality may be a little bit lower. So we find with delaying it till the hot freeze date. If anybody have any problem with this date or suggestions how to improve, please let me know. And otherwise, we will announce this date and make it visible to everybody. Okay. Yeah, this cap I just put it into tracking sheet. And now Marcus.
Yeah, once again about this class resources. So probably am I able to share? I could show a few slides.
Oh, you want to share? Okay, let me give you
yeah,
a
please.
host. Okay, your co-host now.
Thanks. Okay, just a second. I'll try to find the correct window. What? Oh my God. Okay.
It's the Zoom problem.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Do you now see something?
Yeah, we could see it.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, quickly to get again people kind of on the same page. What I'm talking about is class resources, which is a bit unfortunate name. Carries a lot of like legacy from the past caps, but anyway, let's keep this name for now. So first, to remind what this class resources kind of would be about, are about. So kind of QoS resources that require no allocation or reservation capabilities in Kubernetes, and kind of non-accountable infinite resources. And one kind of important property in this is that multiple containers can share kind of one resource or class. So think about, for example, how the PodQoS classes work. So many containers can be in the same PodQoS class. Then why would we like to add support for this? Is that they would allow to support some resources that are kind of inherently, for example, in hardware class-based with a limited number of classes, so that really limited number of classes, so that not every container can have its own class. And other cases, one example of this is this Intel RDT technology for cache and memory bandwidth allocation. So some hardware, for example, may have limit for only 8 classes available. So that's it's not possible to have one class per container in any practical scenario. Then this can be also used for simplifying the user interface of some resource types. So an example is this block.io, where we implement this class-based approach for block.io or IOC group controller configuration. So resources that are kind of where the configuration parameters are very node dependent, and kind of cluster admin may know how to set up the parameters, but users, especially in heterogeneous systems, cannot practically give any meaningful parameterization because of the pod might land on any node. And the kind of design principles in this KEP that we're talking about is that the class resources would be opaque as possible to Kubernetes. So kind of opaque non-integer resources to kind of draw a line between these and extended resources currently. So configuration and management would be handled by the container runtime on the underlying layer, and Kubernetes would not care about these details virtually at all. And the CRI API changes proposed here are very, very minimal. Just add a new type, new field in resource container resources, key value pair basically. And now the KEP states in the first phase, we would use pod annotations as the user interface for Kubernetes. So basically just the CRI API enhancement and then pod annotations as the user interface for setting the classes. Then the last time we discussed, there was this kind of question how for example, how the block IO support would look like from the user point of view. So I'll have a really, really short demo about this one. So do you see anything? Or is it too small?
I mean,
can see.
on
Yeah.
laptop, I can see.
Okay. So basically now in this demo, I have a container D attached to support these class resources like the CRI API and Kubernetes 125, free 125 as well, support these. And the block IO configuration from the cluster admin point of view would look something like this. This is a really, really simplified example, but anyway, in this example, we have like 3 classes: high priority, normal, and low priority. And the high priority would get like PFQ weight so that it would be preferred inside the pod against other containers. In the normal class, it would throttle the write bandwidth of SD devices to 60 megabytes per second. And then the low priority would get lower weight, and in addition, the read and write would be throttled to 50 and 10 megabytes per second. And now, if we take I have a 1 node cluster running in the background. So just to show that we have 1 node. Let's actually 1 node, and this demo now has kind of more more full support for the class resources. So we can in this we should be able to see that. Here we have like class resources, so we can see the block IO resources here. That the node has high priority, low priority, and normal classes for block IO. Then how to use this with the annotations, it's a simple example with three container pod with three containers, container 1, 2, and 3. With annotations, okay, I forgotten that I put also one RDT class there, but it's not considered on that one. But with this first annotation, we set the kind of pod level default that all containers go to normal class, and then the second example would say that container 1 goes to high priority class of this block resource. And then if we deploy that one, we can also take a look at the container D. Container D logs, we can see that for container 3, for example, it found block IO class normal. But now the pod has been deployed, and then the kind of parameters that we set are now visible in sysfs. So in C group FS. Take a look at the pod. So we have this container 3, for example, start with C. So that should be throttled right bandwidth. So if we take a look at this C group block IO, then QPod slice, it's best effort, and then okay, and then this container, and then take a look at this throttle right VPS device. We can see that okay, this right VPS device constraints were put according to our configuration. Oops. But that's basically about the demo. Any thoughts, questions, comments on the
Is there
demo
any
or the
scheduling change needs to happen to support classes?
No, not at this point. I mean, there are a lot of future steps like the resource discovery and resource status and scheduling and resource quota and stuff like that, but they are in the future steps of the step. So I have basically a proof of concept implementation for all of these, but the kind of idea would be to have this small acceptable steps one at a time. So first one would be just the CRI API and the pod annotations to get started, and then add pod spec and pod node status and discovery and all other parts.
So, Marcus, do we need any changes outside of the container runtime at all for the first step to work?
Well, the only thing is basically just adding annotation support for kubelet,
right?
To kind of spot or be able to interpret these annotations. And well, yeah, and then of course the feature gate for that. But
okay,
it's really minimal. So basically, most of the stuff is in the would be in the container runtimes. the CRI API and then the kind of parsing of the annotations on the kubelet side, but that would be basically all. And then probably some unit tests, but they would be very limited at this phase.
Thanks. So another question I have is like, do you see this similar approach also working for like tiered memory systems where you have like fast access memories and secondary memory and so on?
Ronald, it will work, but with some limited approach. So
Yes.
using this approach, where workload can specify what it requires only like DRAM memory or like DRAM plus some other combination, but you will not be able to provide limits per particular tier of memory. However, on the kernel side, you don't have any variants to limit all of those. So as a first step to enable tiered memory, yes, it will happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then kind of, well, we have now two practical examples, this RDT for cache and memory bandwidth and block IO, but I guess if we get this supported, then we have we can explore, for example, we could separate some overloaded bits from the pod QoS class, for example, at some point, possibly, for example, have some out of memory killer weight class and stuff like that, and probably network priority would be one, and so on. So
Thanks. Thanks for the demo. Yeah.
Thanks for the demo. One question I had, if I can, there was another cap I think proposed a while ago, specifically for QoS limiting for storage. I think it was, I'm trying to send it in the chat, but it was basically proposing directly including in the pod spec, like the number of IOPS and the bandwidth controls, etc. for pods. Just curious what your thoughts on that cap and how that approach kind of compares to the class-based system here. I'll paste the link in the cap there.
Yeah. As I said, the problem with that is that the hardware varies a lot, and you don't know what kind of disks the nodes have, and especially in like heterogeneous environments. So the user like directly specifying IOPS or bandwidth or so, the mileage may vary. I mean, you could get unexpected results, but well, we think that this would simplify the user interface so that the cluster administrator could like have even per node configuration. So for in node A, like glass platinum would mean have totally different parameters than glass platinum on some other node, depending on the actual hardware that is on the node. So
David, to add one more point to that is what in C groups where a limit is enforced per device. So putting something in the pod spec, it exposes to the user need to actually know which particular physical device will be present on the node, which might be not very good. Here is exactly a simple user interface. But user specify what he wants, but how it's implemented, it's up to a cluster administrator, and on each node it means parameters specific to that node.
Yeah, and with the kind of upcoming changes, if we get to that point, at some point, kind of having this access or permission control, then you can also limit some namespaces or users from really using the kind of platinum class, for example, if you don't want to give like unlimited access to disk bandwidth, for example.
Gotcha. So to kind of summarize, you're saying like the other cap kind of proposed, it's on the user side versus this is more from the cluster administrator side, and this would be done something, for example, per namespace. So when you're deploying an application, maybe depending on the namespace, would automatically add some annotation or something like that, right? That's sort of the thinking.
No, not really. So the kind of future steps would be to get rid of these annotations, but have this supported in PodSpec. So user could have a specific field in PodSpec to specify the classes for users, but then we now envision that you extend the resource quota mechanisms as an access control for these as well. So the cluster admin can specify the resource quotas which would limit the usage of the classes or availability of the classes for certain users and namespaces.
I see. Gotcha.
Yeah, I think one of the trick will be to go through API review because usage of pod annotations are not ideal, and I think it will be at least frowned upon. But we need to understand whether it can go through API review at all.
So is this approach kind of similar to like the priority class, where you're saying like I want high priority for this workload, but what high priority means depends on which nodes are actually in your cluster. But like from an application developer side, there maybe it's a separate KEP, but like you might want to say, I need at least this many IOPS, and I want the scheduler to figure out where to put this. Yeah.
If you go to the direction of scheduler to allocate some IO ops, then with block storages, it's almost, well, it's almost impossible to guarantee that. So most of them can be only throttled. But this cap is actually going towards the scenario of saying what for this particular resource I want this priority. So like we have two examples, like memory cache, like cache, memory bandwidth, and block IO. The third one, which was Munal was mentioned, like memory tiering, like different combination of memories what can be available. And then workload can select, saying what, like I require slow memory, I require throttled block IO for my logger container, but my database should be in like with higher memory like bandwidth with higher disk IO bandwidth.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments, questions on this topic?
Yeah, I wonder what may be next steps to agree on direction here. And I'm not sure how much you done with scheduling part of it, and like I mean, whenever I look at it, it feels to me that this first step is kind of simple and straightforward, but then what the end result will be is not super clear. And yeah, as Bruno said, like, does it apply to memory, and how it will apply to memory? These kind of questions arise, and how scheduler will decide where to schedule your pod based on this classes. So maybe this may help.
So yeah, I mean, these are discussed in the KEP itself, but from the scheduler point of view, it's basically really as simple as like the extended resources. So the scheduler knows that what is on each node, and then well, not in this KEP, but I mean in the future steps. And then if a certain class of certain resources available on the node, then the workload is schedulable there. So it's kind of really straightforward from that point of view as well. from scheduler point of view, because it doesn't, it only kind of, the resources from the scheduler point of view are basically just key value pairs, and it just sees if a key, certain key with certain value is present on the node.
I guess like you can collect, keep getting like reviews on the announcement directly, like reach out to folks this week, and then maybe by next week we see where we are at. And folks that are already on the call can probably make passes and leave comments there.
It also feels like a runtime class of sort. So we all sorts of runtime hints that we pass to, to runtime, to container runtime, and container runtime decides what to do with that.
Well, practically, the implementation what Marcus did is very similar to runtime class, like similar field in the CRI, similar reporting which classes are available, similar filtering on the scheduler side.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's sort of similar. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, okay, we're almost out of time, but my other question would be like how much you keep everything opaque, and maybe one direction is to make it super opaque and just say that these are hints to runtimes, and runtime will try to deal with that. But then at some point, workload may not be portable because runtimes will make it so specific that they only know how to deal with this specific classes. I'm not sure how much you want to expose, like how opaque you want to do it, how generic you want to do it. Okay, let's collect feedback till next week and see where it went. Sorry, we took almost all time out of this, and I asked Daniela. She had like longest topic, I think, in agenda. She said it's fine to move. I also see a couple announcement of CAPS, forensic checkpointing in review. Many thanks to different people. In place pod vertical scaling is also in reviews, and sandbox ready pod conditions in review and waiting for Derek to approve. And finally, Peter, there is a topic about cryo and container DCV. Is there something you can cover quickly, or you need to move to next week?
Yeah, I could do a quick overview. This is just, there's been a CVE that unembargoed yesterday in both cryo and containerd about exec sync requests over basically using an unbounded amount of memory. And I wanted, so both of the implementations came to a conclusion that we would just cap the amount of memory used by an exec sync request, or like by processing the output to 16 megs. And so I just wanted to bring the circle back to everyone now that it's been unembargoed and patched. We should probably document that behavior or think of a more official way of proclaiming that limitation, so that I know in the Docker shim, it was just patched in the same way. So that's how we kind of coalesced to the 16 megs. Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that.
I think like the first immediate step we can take is document it in the CRI exec sync, saying that this should be limited to 16 MB. And what happens, like we truncate at that point, right? That's what we are doing. And then we can think of anything later, but at least it's clearly documented.
That's a good idea. And I can take an action item to do that documentation. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to check in about that and see if anyone had any thoughts or follow-up work that they wanted done for that.
Thank you for bringing it in. Can you post a link into to CVE in agenda items so people will be able to look at it? Anything else for today? Any other topics? Sorry, we went through CAPS really quickly. We didn't have time. We wanted to concentrate on class resources cap.
Yeah, Sergey, I think I have posted one in the chat. Basically, this is a request for the KEP revival, which got closed automatically. Basically, we are facing an issue with the containerd, container where when we exec, right, there is no user option. I think this is an old topic. I think some of the guys here might be aware, including I think Mrunal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think Anand, so I think what we need to do here is like it looks like the original KEP is no longer active, right? So if you want to revive this, create a new KEP in the new format and start from there. Like just given where we are, I'm not sure if we can get this in 125, but that's where I would start. Like create a new KEP, like add Mike Brown, me, and other folks interested here as reviewers and approvers, and we can take it from there, I guess. Like you really don't need anyone's permission to start that KEP. We ping the original author, they don't seem active, so let's take it over.
Yeah, right. I found that original author is no more active. I think it looks like he has left. So fine, then I'll create a KEP in the new format. And maybe I need help because I'm not containerd expert myself. I'm just an user of containerd in my code, but yeah, I will need help from you guys to, guide me through that. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
can
think
reach
like,
out to me.
yeah, sure.
Okay. Any other topics?
You can start by creating a new issue too, and that'll be the number to use for the KEP in enhancements. And that might be a good place to ask for some help or feedback too.
Sure, Mark. I'll do that. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a good rest of your day.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you.